how to edit videos starting from scratch. If I go too quickly with the instructions, feel free to hit the pause button. Okay, first things first, you're going to want to upload your videos, put them all in one location on your computer, and rename them something easy to remember. If you put numbers to differentiate, put the numbers at the beginning of the file name. Say it's like going to the park, so you call it park, you call it 1 park, 2 park, 3 park, instead of park 1, park 2, park 3. It'll save you a lot of headaches, trust me. Also very important, make sure to use one USB port if you're going to be using something like a portable hard drive or a memory stick. If you move it from one USB port to another on the same computer, you're going to lose a lot of your hard work. This is what the screen should look like. You want to be on the second part of the top. It said Edit. Now the upper right hand corner is what you want to pay attention to. You can see that there's a plus sign and an add, and then there is a file folder and a picture of a film that'll show your films. That's going to show your pictures, and that's going to show your sound. But right now all I have is samples, so I'm going to add a file, and I'm going to name the file something relevant to this video. And then I'm going to add files to the library, which is this big empty spot over here. And to do that, I'm going to click on the file. That's going to bring this up. I'm going to choose the file that I have all of my videos in. This one is about tea. And hit open. Once I've hit open, it should bring all of the tea files in there. If they're not showing up, try clicking on the little film strip at the top. It should bring up all of the videos. Now, to make the pictures bigger, you want to drag that thing across at the top, and you can resize it to something that's, you know, appealing to your own eyes. Okay, so the next step is to get a paper and a writing utensil. Write the name of the file at the top of the piece of paper, and then start off with zeros at the margin, because that is where the video starts. It always starts at 0, at least mine do. And then I'm going to play it to a certain number of seconds and then label it something relevant to what happened in those seconds. I like to round it when I do so, so it makes it easier to have a rough cut. Here's an example of a breakdown of a file. You'll notice the more exact time I put there, and that's just to make it easier for rounding back and forth. I can add a few seconds on one end to make the clip longer for editing, and when I start the next section I want to give a few seconds the other way, so I just minus a few to make it longer in that direction. And that's the actual point where I pause it. I add a few seconds for the rounding to make a rough cut, and then starting the next section I minus a few seconds to make the clip longer for the rough cut on that clip specifically. And then I just keep doing that. That's the roundabout start. That's the exact spot where I stopped. I add a few seconds for the rough cut, and I minus a few seconds for the next section. And you just keep going through that. So I've done it for 4T and for 7T, and I'm going to use these to do some editing. So I have it up here. And now it turns out that for 4T I'm going to be using quite a bit of it. I'm going to be using from 0 to 45 seconds. For the rough cut, I'm going to end up mixing it up a bit more after. So to get 45 seconds, I click on this section here and type in 45. And that skips the video to the exact spot where it is at 45 seconds flat. And then I hit this section here, it's sort of like a bracket. It's called Mark Out. And that sort of brackets in that one section. Then I go up here and click on 4T and drag it down to the timeline. The second section is going to be used on 7T, so I click on 7T, I drag the markers out in either direction as far as I can, and that gives me the entire clip to work with. Now I want to start off with 0 to 17 seconds because that's the first clip I want to use from here. So I type in 0, and then I type in 17, I type in 0 again, and that is the end of the clip. Always type in the end of the clip first if you're heading in the direction of beginning to end. And then I drag 7T from here to here. And now that I put it on the timeline and I want to use something else from the same file, I have to make sure to re-click on the one in the library, otherwise I'll screw up my timeline. So the second clip I want to use from there, it ends at 1 minute and 7 seconds, so I'm going to type in 01, 07, and then 0 at the end, and then type that in as the end of the clip. In the beginning of the clip I want it to be at 28 seconds, so I'm going to type in 00 and then 28 and leave that as 0 and click on that. Then drag this behind the next clip. And then if I want to use something from 7T again, I want to click on the one in the library and make sure the one in the library is highlighted before I start doing more editing.